This recruitment focus I'm about to show you is going to help you find Wonderkids for your save, and it's really easy to set up. Whether you're managing a top level team in Football Manager or you're managing one of your favorite clubs in the lower league, finding Wonderkids can actually bring life to your long-term saves. And the first thing you want to do is to ensure that you have scouts employed at the club. If you go over to the staff screen, you can see the recruitment team here, and the scouts I currently have 7. Now if you're in the lower leagues, you probably have less, maybe 3 or 4 scouts. And if you're an elite club, you can go as far as having 15 scouts in your team. That's quite okay, probably more than okay, to be honest. But here I'm managing post-mart, so 7 is enough. Under recruitment focus, you want to just uncheck some of the recruitment focus that you already have by default. Now I have some here for free signing. I'm going to uncheck that one and just delete it. Major League Soccer, I have no idea why it's there. I'll just go ahead and delete this one as well. England, I think I'm going to just leave the rest here since we're managing in England. Now the reason why you want to uncheck these options is because you have limited amount of scouts. If you're managing an elite club and then you have a lot of scouts to actually go with, even then you may still want to uncheck those results or those recruitment focus that you don't really need, that are not producing that many results. Just take them off. Now that you've removed some assignments and your scouts are a bit free, you can go ahead and create shortlist. This is probably the most important part of this routine. Just go over to your shortlist and then go back to new shortlist on this gear button here. Go ahead and create a new shortlist. Where is that? Okay, select the default and then create a new shortlist. You can give it any name you want. I'm just going to name it, let's say, age 16 players. And you can go ahead and create more shortlists like that and just give the players, let's say, 17-year-olds. You can just name this list and try to find out the kind of players that you want to put on this list. I'm also going to put expensive players, or players that may be out of my current transfer budget that I can actually go ahead and I may not be able to sign at this point. I can also look for interested players, have them set up inside the team as well. Just create shortlists based on what you think or the kind of players that you want to put into that shortlist, which will help your search and kind of narrow it down a lot. Now you can head back to recruitment focus and then go over to create a new focus. So this is where the full step is. The one thing you want to do is it's currently set to a 4-3-3, which is the system that I'm using to play here with Postmouth, but we don't want to limit our scouts to only finding players within this particular formation. So what you want to do first is to just go ahead and change the tactic and to any tactic at all, and then go ahead and check the option that says any position from this tactic. So any player at all in any position that exists inside the game is going to appear in your search. Next thing you want to do, let's just use this to be let's call this the 15-year-olds, or let's say 16-year-olds, since we don't have any 15-year-olds. 16 to 17-year-old kids, Wonderkids. Once you have that all set up, you want to switch from transfer and loan and just maybe have transfer, or you can actually leave it on transfer and loan, to be honest, in case there are some players that are on loan. And if you're a lower league club and you're interested in loan players, that's fine by me. But go ahead to the minimum current ability and just drop this bar down to maybe 3 and 4.5 star, or even 5 star for the white silver stars, something like that, and then drop it in there. The minimum potential ability, depending on your team, you can make this 3 star or 3.5. I'm just going to leave it on 3 so that some players that may be good enough for enter inside my team actually need to show up there. I'm not going to be limiting my options. Where everything thrives is where you go back to the age range and then change it from this to 17-year-old. So only 15, let's say 15 to 17-year-old players are going to pop up with this particular current ability. And I think at 15 I can drop this to 4.5 star. And then for the area that you want to search, currently my scouts are limited to the UK and Ireland, so I'm just going to go ahead to Europe and then choose England, for example, and then just select that first and then have it in there. You want to change the priority to ongoing and then leave everything as it is. In assign scouts and analysts, just leave it on any. And for this last option that says include results found in other recruitment focuses, you're going to go ahead and uncheck this option so that the scouts will not go ahead and mix the players on different lists. So you can have whenever a new player is found, it's going to go into a separate list. That's why I told you to create a new shortlist every time you go ahead and do this. So once you uncheck that option, go ahead and click confirm. That's going to be your recruitment focus that is set up. There's a player here that is already outstanding, Christian Dumfries, a Newcastle player that is a 17-year-old. So you can just have a quick look at him and see what he's got. He has potential to actually be in my squad and fit in perfectly. So good determination as well, good dribbling, good acceleration and pace. A lot of improvement that can come for him. So a lot more players are going to be populated in this list as we go on. I'm going to repeat the same process here for players that are between the age of 18 to 20, but what I'm going to change in this sense, I'm going to just leave the potential ability as maybe 3.5 star, but then the current ability I'm going to leave it at 1 star, because I expect that an 18-year-old that should pop up on my list should be at least 1 star to be considered good enough to actually get into the team. I'm going to leave it on ongoing as well, leave everything the way that it is, and then uncheck this option also, and then okay, 18 to 20, that's okay. Click confirm. It's going to just have another list here, and then we can see more players popping into that list. A lot of players that could fit into the team. You can go ahead and refine the search any way that you want to narrow it down a lot more, and then have players that can actually pop in and be good enough to be inside your team. Now, as you scroll through the list and then you see players that you might be interested in, you can go ahead and select them like this. Let's say Adam Cockbill, for example, that is playing at Birmingham City. Marking could use some improvement, but he's the kind of player that I'm going to want to sign. Good determination and bravery. So you can just go ahead and select Adam Cockbill. He's under the age of 18 and 20, so I'm just going to go over to the reports and then add to shortlist. Sorry, go to players that are between the age of 17. Okay, I didn't create a list for players that are above 18. I'm going to go over to interested players. Let's add to shortlist, interested players, indefinitely add them to that shortlist. Now, if I go back to my shortlist and see interested players, Adam Cockbill is over there, and then I can keep an eye on him. Now, there is a different view you can use to look at this instead of just the default view. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this. I will go ahead and add it into the description as well in case you want to download it. I found it in the FM24 SAS skin. What you want to look is the player search DNA. If you have the SAS skin, you would already have this option. But in case you don't have the SAS skin, I'm going to just add it for you. I noticed it didn't work for me there. The player search DNA. Let's try the copy of the player search DNA, and okay, also not valid. So I'm going to have to switch to the SAS skin now. So now that we're in the SAS24 skin, I can just go ahead and change this, and you can see the player wishlist DNA, of course, here inside the SAS skin. So what I'm going to do is to actually save this option for you, so I can export it and then put it in the downloads folder for you to actually go ahead and get it. So I'm going to export this current view, player wishlist DNA. I'm just going to go ahead and save this. So when I go back to my former skin, I'm going to be able to import it into this view. So what's going to happen, if you look at Adam Cockbill, we have him is an EU nationality, a lot of details about him that is going to be relevant to us signing him. You can see determination, teamwork, work rate could use a bit of work and composure. You can also see his player personality, and his asking price is 4.4 million. You can also see his transfer value here and when his contract currently expires. He has a lot of time on his contract, so he's somebody that I might want to keep an eye on. But he hasn't played a lot for Birmingham City in this current season, so it's somebody that we may want to price out of Birmingham City. That's just the first day, so we can go ahead and proceed a few days into the future and see how many players actually pop up on our list. You can go ahead and make as many lists as possible, as many recruitment focuses as you possibly can, given the scouts that you have in your team. So going forward a few days, we're now in the 13th of October, and we're currently using the former skin again, no longer the SAS skin. So I can show you how you can actually import that view. And if you go over to the 16 to 17 Wonderkids, you can see that a lot more players have started to come up now. One player that is recommended is Christian Humphries, like you remember. But there are other players here that don't quite fit the list, or they're not quite in the category yet. So there are players I could still be looking at, but they are not, based on what we're looking for, they're not quite there yet. So we're just going to keep an eye on them and allow the ongoing scouting to continue to grow. So there are other players here, like we mentioned, that players that could be interesting. We've already shortlisted Adam Cockbill. You can also go ahead and add Zach Jones and Ethan Whitson. Just bring that. I think Ron Silver as well. It's just that he's on loan from a particular club, and those kind of players I tend to avoid them because it might cost you a lot more money. But just go ahead and select the first. You just uncheck this guy and then this and this guy. Go ahead and add them to shortlist of the players that we're interested in that we want to go ahead and sign. Once you have them in the shortlist, you can go over to the shortlist now and then check over on that region, and then we can switch this from overview, go to custom, go ahead to import view, and then you can see player wishlist DNA. I'm just going to go ahead and load this, and then the view is now successfully imported. We can see a lot more information about these players now. Since we're not using the SAS skin, the headings are not included in this, so I do recommend getting the SAS skin because it's going to help you see everything that you need to see. So if you hover over it like this, you can know what which attribute that is, like determination. You can see this guy Adam Cockbill, our main guy, has 20 determination. You can also see the players an EU national or not. Just hover over it and like this, and then see the clubs that they play for, and also their asking price. There's a player here from Ipswich, Zach Jones. He's only cost us less than $1 million. That's 925k. And if we look at his attributes right now, he has good bravery, and he could improve a lot since he's a 19-year-old. As a DM, he has good marking and good teamwork, good tackling. Vision, not so much, so I know that I don't need to worry about him being a playmaker or trying to be a playmaker. He's just a solid defensive midfielder, and it's going to be a very good option for us. So that's how you can go about scouting players, and you can find very good players that could come into your team. If you're using an elite club to actually do this, you find way better players than this. And you notice that our first recruitment focus, we actually locked it to England. So let's go try something else now. We're going to go ahead and create a new recruitment focus. And over there, we're going to just change this to any low tactic. This time we're going to look for Wonderkids. 19, or let's just still keep between the ages of 16 or 15 to 21. It's a large list, I know, but just need to just drop this down to 4.5 star and just make this 3 star. Or let's say, since we're using a very large list, we're going to just increase this to 3.5 star. Lock this to age 21 and 15, and then ongoing, uncheck this option as well, and then go ahead and click OK. Once that list starts to populate, you can see a lot of players are going to pop in from all across the world. Everybody, most of them are actually named Wonderkids. Okay, no, that's my reference. So you can see a lot of players that are in here. Some of them are from UK, some of them are actually playing in Austria, in Sturmgratz. Little Julian Duenkler over here, very good player, as we can see. He's a 4.5 star player right now, but he can fit into my team depending on what I want to use him for. Very good passing, very good vision, and he's also out of contract as well, so you can actually go ahead and approach to sign him almost immediately. So those kind of players kind of pop up real quick, and if you narrow down your search like that, I think with your recruitment focus, if you broaden this, put it on any, and then any role from any particular attack or any particular position in the tactic, it's going to give you a lot more players, and then you can filter through them and use the shortlist to actually find the players that are interesting to you, push them to the shortlist, and try to continue scouting them. You can discard the other remaining players that may not be good enough to fit into your team. That is how you can go about using this recruitment focus to help you find Wonderkids for your save. If you did enjoy this video or you found it useful, do let me know in the comment section, and if you have more questions about scouting on Football Manager, do let me know in the comment section as well. There's also a scouting tool that can make this a lot easier, but I think it kind of takes the fun out of the game. But in case you're down for that kind of stuff and you need the absolute best players, you can go ahead and watch this video next, and I'll see you there.